You're watching TVC Breakfast. The organized labor has been reacting to the recent increment in the fuel pump price. It insists government cannot shy away from its responsibilities. The body on Sunday, at a reconvened meeting with the federal government aimed at addressing the increase in price of fuel and electricity tariff, staged a walkout. TVC had a chat with the Deputy NLC President Amechi Sugoni, who sheds more light on its stance on this developing story.
From the original sudden increment that was done by federal government under the guise of deregulation. And Labour insisted that the federal government cannot run out of its responsibility, you can't run away from your duty. It's not their function to do so, because the question is, why is refinery not working? Why were we not refining, and why are we not still refining here? Rather than even sustaining the capacity we had, we keep increasing the volume of importation. And you cannot deregulate under importation. That is like not just giving up, but you are already laying a foundation that the increment will have no end. And who bears the brunt? Nigerians will suffer. So Labour and federal government commence what we call the strategic discussion to seeing the system in place, a program that is in place to actually bring to birth, first, to rehabilitate the existing refineries, build more refineries, issue license to investors that are interested, and make it more buoyant. At that point, even when you deregulate, prices eventually cannot be uniform. There will be competition. Prices in Abuja certainly will be different from prices in Enugu. And all of a sudden, the same government that failed to hear the cry of Nigerians at 160 naira per litre suddenly announced a uniform price of 170. That was a total neglect. It's a confirmation of insensitivity on the part of government. And Labour said in our meeting yesterday, in our meeting a few days ago, you can't take this part. You cannot but make this subject a priority. You can't call us a meeting that you know the bearing moment and such matter is not on the agenda. Such meeting cannot proceed. And they insisted that they may walk around the clock. No, the answer should be make it an agenda, the meeting can commence. And federal government became adamant at that point, and it became imperative that Labour work out. Up to this moment, the committee have not brought their report to the main committee. The subcommittee, to the best of our knowledge, we're still working. We're supposed to meet at the time of NSAS protests, but that disrupted the time for the meeting. Up till now, the committee set up, as a matter of fact, the committee on petroleum have not even met. No significant report on electricity has been made. No report has been made to the committee, and the information that got to us was increment. That is a threat. And the best way to respond was what happened. Beyond the belief or the perception of people, we are organized labor, and we have procedures. We have organs. It's not a one-man business. The individual determines what happened, both at the NSC and TUC. So a product of organ meeting is very sensitive. The way they see it from the public eventually may not be in true line with the proceedings before action is launched. And therefore, what we are doing, to us, it is necessary that we take certain steps. And we agree with Nigerians who also feel that, why didn't you go on strike? Don't forget, going on strike is a strategy. It's a tool meant to achieve a result. And you find out that oftentimes we plan to go on strike, both at the industrial union. You can plan to go on strike and your employer meet your demand and eve to the day of departure of that strike. You call it off because you have achieved results. Many Nigerians were not comfortable that Labour possibly suspended the earlier planned strike. But Labour did so believing that government was also genuine. With all the evidences they display on the table of meeting, it was very evident that they were ready to engage Labour to practically work out modalities that will make refineries work, To us, it was a good news. To Nigerians, they were not in the meeting with us, but we saw that from what we are seeing, a new Nigeria is about to be launched. All of a sudden, craftiness was introduced. And that is why our tune has changed. And Nigerians should still believe this same labor have the capacity to take any action that will be needful should federal government insist that the increment will stand. We cannot regret going into a meeting at all. Part of training is to ensure you engage in social dialogue. And social dialogue remains the avenue to resolve issues. And therefore, we are still open to meetings, but we cannot do less than our resolution. We cannot. So a time comes that we may need to possibly involve our organ. And at that point, it will be difficult, very, very difficult for government to stand. We have actually informed Nigerians what led to the walkout yesterday. Labour is re-strategizing the next option. And such option cannot be except the organ decide. The question now is, there are plans on the pipeline in engaging the constitution of NSC in ensuring that organ take the necessary decision that will eventually give us the best approach to the current issue. And believe in me, we must act when the need arises. And I will not be surprised. Anything can happen any moment. As we speak, I don't think federal government will say otherwise. Government will tell you Labour did not work out to secure their incompetence. But I tell you, we were proud to walk out of that meeting where we saw that the priority of Nigerians were not on the agenda for that meeting. It will be very, very unproductive to engage in a meeting that the outcome is already foreseen to be void. And for us, if federal government insists in that same procedure, there will be a second walkout. And, walkout to government, it suggests failure on their part. To us, it's strength because it gives us room to check other options. And as we speak, there are options that may not be unveiled now, but certainly when they come, they become breaking news. And I think we'll leave it at that. For us as Labour, solution to the challenge we find ourselves is to deliver our conscience to the effect that we must all conclude until refineries work, government is not working. Until refineries work, government is not working. And that is when all Nigerians will become monitoring things to this effect. It's not a theory. It's a matter of fact. Refineries working will give us better deal to petroleum price management. It will give us better deal to deregulation. It will make people believe that it's a source of employment generation. So we're not just asking for it should work. Refinery must work because that is the solution. You can't say you even deregulate at the expense of majority of Nigerians and still leave few people to be importing this product into Nigeria and suggest price that must be against the poor. No. If refineries work, just like any other product that you can find anywhere in Nigeria, you can buy them in varieties of price. And until that is achieved, we are making no progress. So for us, the solution to this quagmire of petroleum is refinery must be fixed and they must be seen working. It has to be prioritized. Federal government must declare emergency on refineries to work. It's a must. If they talk less to this, NSAS must be a child's play in that regard. Because, when federal government do certain things and get away with it, then they can do it again. A time comes that institutions must put their legs on ground. People will ask NSC, we have to at a point, we have to. We agree that as organized institution, we have procedures that others may not understand, but these procedures must get to an end that eventually strike action become the last option. And when that comes, I doubt federal government competence to arrest it. From a general point of view, you will understand that the current government should look into appraisal. There is no way you work with more than 30 ministers for going to 6 years without appraisal, it will mean that you are not even ready to score. And if you don't score, you can't make changes. So there must be appraisal to give score what is wrong and what is not wrong. Ask yourself, the people you have put to head ministries, are they experts in such ministry? Are they making progress? Nigerians are agitating. Which areas are this agitation coming from? On whose ministry is suffering this country? You must be able to create division of labor in most ministries. And you can't have our youth experts. Everything is digitalized. There are thousands of Nigerians out there that can actually configure this problem out, that can teach you economically how to get the issue of power resolved, how to get the issue of refinery to work. You cannot center it on one point and then continue to get advice from one source. Such advice is not yielding result, and such person continue to be your advisor when the whole country is against you. That is a wrong strategy. So for us, there must be a change, a pattern that is keeping people, even when they are making no progress, is absurd. We can no longer continue to encourage sustaining officers to hold office at the expense of Nigerians. Let's try options that may give better result. And I believe it's a good way to go, especially with a government that believes in change. You can never sustain human knowledge that has not given result, and therefore change will be difficult. One of the options that Nigerians must know is the option that the right is in their hand. Every Nigerian must know that you have the capacity to decide how Nigeria should look like, including the time of election. Your ballot, your voter's card count. So it's one of your duty to decide who will do it better. And when it comes to peaceful protests, in emphasis, peaceful protests, Nigerians should participate. For that is the voice. For that is the demand. That is when the people will say what they want. That is the only capacity that can change government policy. That is the only way government can actually recede its ugly plan or anti-people's policy that is no longer sustainable. Nigerians should not think of losing confidence in organized labor, for there is no alternative. And therefore, it will be a plus to government when they hear Nigerians express the fact that they are losing confidence in labor. Rather, Nigerians should talk strength to labor, because that is the institution we need to survey this country. We can't. Anytime you hear people say they are disappointed, it's just an expression, but temporary. Labor is still available. Labor has the capacity. Labor is willing to engage, but they should tolerate our procedure. The public should tolerate our procedure. But anytime we tell them it's now, nobody should say, if it was yesterday, I would have come out, but today I will not join. That will be tantamount, and that will be indeed anti-people. That will be celebrated by the same government you fight today. So we are saying we are following procedure. At the time of engagement, Nigeria must believe in the struggle. For it is through the struggle that the right change we demand will come. And for us, NSC is a platform to rely upon, and we are ready to serve.
So you're saying that Labour has not sold out?
Never. Labour cannot sell out. Otherwise, even what happened in the current action of Labour walking out of the meeting suggests and must convince majority of Nigerians that indeed our integrity is intact. Procedurally, somebody may have one thing to say, but I know at the right time to engage, Labour institution will be out to do the needful, and I promise you that which we know to be doing, we will do again.
So when do we see Labour back to the table with government?
That is left for government. We are open to meetings, but rather than waiting for government to call our meeting, we should be planning our own meeting to get our plans done. So for us, calling for a meeting may even interrupt our plans. But if they call, we are open to meeting. But that will not stop Labour from making alternative plans to secure our integrity and ensure also that that which we desire to do in following due process is actualized in no far distance. The way we are reacting now, should federal government in the course of Labour resisting the current increment still proceed in doing increment, that is self-suicidal, because we know that Nigerians are already suffering as we speak. Nigerians are angered they are bitter. There is no true leader, whether labor or politicians, that does not know that average Nigeria is agitated as we speak. Everything is not working. And therefore, that is why you see people trying to almost give labor the responsibility of federal government. Labor is an institution of workers. But you see, because people are helpless, they just want somebody, they want an institution that can just fight and give them overnight. And that is why we say they should tolerate our strategy, whether December, whether January, whether November. No month is different. We believe that bad policy is bad policy any year. When it's coming in December, labor has to engage. And we're doing everything possible, following due process in ensuring that our engagement is not thwarted. And we will do the needful. For me, I believe the end of year will never be the end of struggle.
Very interesting conversations there with the Deputy NLC President, Amechi Asugwani. And let's tell you that the view